BBC Radio Solent, Alun and Lou brightening your day, the Bee Gees, and you win again. It is 10 minutes to 12. It's Ask the Expert on BBC Radio Solent as we welcome in one of my favourite guests, Sue Spencer, who's a certified KonMari consultant and owner of A Life More Organised. Freedom from clutter is her little strapline. She can organise your life, your stuff. Even if you consider yourself to be a minimalist, I bet you still have stuff that you don't need, that you don't know what to do with, but you don't want to chuck it out because it might come in useful one day. Any questions at all? We have got Sue here for the next half an hour. 0808 100 3800. If you prefer to text us, you can. It's 81333. Start your message with the word Solent. How are you doing, Sue?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me back in.
It's great to have you, Sue. Do you think people's homes are a reflection of what's happening in their brain?
Completely. I think if you start to, I always say to people, if we start decluttering your home, you're going to start decluttering your mind as well. And I've seen that really recently with some people. Okay.
And we're going to be talking about resistance as well. When people call you in, so that they're going to call you in and they're going to pay for your service. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, resist your service. I think that's an interesting job to be in, that I could call someone, because I know I've got a problem there, and the minute we start to do it, the process can get unsettling for people, and you might need to go, OK, let's work this through slowly. It might not be as quick as you think.
Absolutely. And what we do to start off with is I try and understand a little bit about why I've been called in. So I don't go in with my Kim and Aggie shoes on and start throwing things out. What I do is I sit down with them and we talk about why they've called me in, what they're hoping to achieve. And I get them to imagine their ideal lifestyle. So they have in their heads a picture of a clutter-free home. And I think that really helps.
Do you ever get clients, though, that call you in, you sit down and start working with them, and then it becomes apparent that they're not at that stage, they're not ready, and you have to say, you know what, this isn't going to work yet, you're too resistant?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, I think you need to be at the stage where you move in.
How depressing can it be if I call you in, we have a phone conversation, and then you realise that I'm not going anywhere, and you think, I'm too busy to sit and do nothing, and then you leave me in my mess. Oh, my goodness.
So I always leave people with some hints and tips to get going. But I do say to them, you've got to start thinking about why you're doing it and prioritise some time to do it, because it's only going to work when you start and you're actually fully committed to it.
Yeah. Fully committed, Alan.
Fully committed. Now, what we need to tell you before we play a tune, The Beautiful South, just coming up, is that since you were last here, can I be honest, Lou?
Well, why not, Alan?
We've got texts coming in from people, messages coming in. 81333, the first word is Solent. 0808 100 3800 on the phone. But since you've been in, Lou has been in a bit of a quandary. Bit nervous. I would say she's been nervous of you coming in. And we have over and over and over again tried to help her with her shoe problem. We know she's got, and I'm calling it a problem.
You're calling it a problem.
And do you know how far we've got is...
What right have you got to call it a problem?
Lou, I can't do anything about it. I've got no storage at the moment. Got no storage. And I'm thinking, why would someone want storage when they're going to shred down? Surely don't buy storage until you've shred down. We've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pairs of shoes to get through. And Lou, last time you were here, committed to getting rid of half of her shoe collection.
Oh, I'm not sure I said half.
You did. You said half.
I think everyone has a different clutter tolerance level.
Yes, different clutter tolerance level.
If it's not impacting your lifestyle and your well-being, then that's absolutely fine. If Lou is happy with her whole collection. However, if she's feeling a little bit embarrassed and drained from that collection, then there's lots we can do to help you. But don't buy your storage until you have decluttered. Alan is right on that one. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Alan's right. Gosh, well, there's a first time for everything.
Okay, you're listening to Declutter Your Life with Sue Spencer from A Life More Organised and Alan Newman from A Life More Smug. We'll be doing more on this in just a mo.
Put your questions to Sue Spencer, certified KonMari consultant, and the lady behind A Life More Organised. While we were listening to Robbie Williams, Sue was just sharing a photo of her old hallway, the house that she was living in, and it was something out of a show home. It looked beautiful. There wasn't a bit of clutter anywhere. And you were just saying you've got sort of like a unit that you have at the end of the hallway, your old property, and when the kids came home from school, everything would go into a space, so you didn't then clutter the floor.
No, it's a bit like one of the IKEA Kallax units. So it's like a grid system. We had one that was wood that was 9 boxes, and you can get all sorts of different boxes that go into them, and they all had boxes. So, the football stuff went in one box, the school shoes went in another, the school bags went in another. So when they came home, rather than looking like they'd self-combusted and put all their stuff on the floor, they were drummed into them that they had to put their stuff away. But it also meant that come the next morning, they knew where everything was on the way out to school. So it made my house tidier, but it made life so much easier the next day as well.
Oh my goodness. If you want tips like that, get in touch. Tell us what your clutter problems are. Share your stories if you've decluttered successfully. 0808 100 3800. Anything to stop me talking about my shoes, please. We're happy to just keep Sue talking for the next half an hour to detract from the situation in my own house. This one's come through. Now, I remember talking to you about this, or touching on it last time we spoke to you, about digital decluttering. I'm addicted to taking photographs. I have thousands across my tablet and mobile phone. I never print them out, but I also won't delete them. I'm running out of storage, and I don't like the idea of putting them onto an external drive. Any advice?
Yes, I think we're all really guilty of this because it's so easy just to take so many photos every day with our cameras on our phones. I think you need to ask yourself what you're keeping the photos for. So are they there just to collect memories of certain events and things like that? And also, if you're not backing it up on some sort of external device, then what happens if you were to lose them? And how important are they for you to feel like this? I would really recommend that you do download them onto some sort of photo management system. You can download them onto your laptop. You can use something like Flickr to download them. And the great thing about doing that is each photo you take is actually date stamped in some way. And when you download it, a lot of these software packages will automatically order all your photos in the right date order.
Okay, yeah.
Which then makes it much easier to sort through them. There's no quick win to this, unfortunately. It's taken months and years to get as many photos as we have. So we have to invest a little bit of time in going through them. But I would really recommend, if you are downloading them, to order them into different files, starting off by year and then by month. And if there are certain things that happen within those months, like a wedding or a holiday, put them in that sort of file order. And then, every evening, maybe for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, flick through your photos. You like your photos, you've kept them so far. Click through them, and any duplicates that are there, any that are slightly out of focus, anywhere you don't know the people, I would just delete them. Any landscape views of beautiful views from your holidays that you don't actually remember where it was, then don't keep it.
Just looking at my own photos, and you mentioned duplicates. I'm so bad at this, and this is what we didn't do when we had cameras, did we? Now we've got digital cameras. You can just take a photo and take 15 of the same thing. I had 15 copies of a view that we had on the Isle of Wight the other day when we were doing an outside broadcast there. And looking at my photos now, I've got millions that I took when I was doing Hairspray the other week. There's so many of just the same people. And the last one on there, disappointingly, Alan, on my phone, is you eating an egg on a piece of bread. That was yesterday.
Yeah, I photograph well. I have an uncanny knack of making food semi-erotic, and so a lot of people do come down to the canteen to watch me eat. But the key is there, delete all. Just delete all. That's what I do. I get rid of loads and loads of photos. I think the reality of what you're talking about is very, very difficult, because we amass things and then we go, shall I do photos? And it all seems too much. I find one of the useful ways of dealing with photos is to create photo books, because I like seeing them. And I've also seen online lots of companies selling photo frames that are connected to your wireless modem.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. I had one of those.
Yeah, and you can send. So when you're on holiday, I say I gave you, Sue, this photo frame as a gift, right? And you put it in your house. You wouldn't, because it would have a trailing wire and it would probably annoy you. But if you put it in your house, then if you give me the access code to that photo frame, or your children, they can be out in Switzerland or wherever, and they can send the picture to the frame.
Lovely.
Oh, that's a nice idea.
And that way you can see it live, but then you're getting some value. And then I think people moderate their photos. When I know I've got to share something, I go, delete, that's nasty, delete, my eyes are shut, delete, that's another one of the dog, delete, and I get the one I want. And I think, but it is a hard thing with digital world.
It's a really hard thing, and I use the KonMari Method to organise. I've trained with Marie Kondo. But what we would always say is photos is the very last thing that we would do.
Right.
It falls within the sentimental category. So we'd have worked through clothes, books, we'd have worked through every item in your home, and then we'll get to the sentimental stuff. And photos definitely falls within then because there's so many memories involved.
Okay, here's a tricky one for you, and this is an interesting one because it's when hoarding's got wildly out of control. There's more to this than I can read, but it's from Ray. Hi, Alun Lou, I need help. I've got a serious problem and I've got valuable clutter. After a considerable life event, I'm now retired and live alone. I have a furnished, uninhabited 3-bedroom property full to the rafters, including integral garage, van, car and trailer on the drive. I've even got a 20-foot storage container nearly full. I have moved out because I have so much stuff and I'm desperate to sort it all out. I'm getting some help with anxiety, depression, these kind of things, but I need to tackle the clutter, but it seems like it's too much. So that is a supersized amount of clutter. How do you approach a client who is at the real sharp end of hoarding?
So at the sharp end of hoarding, it's not an area I specifically deal with. Hoarding is a recognised mental illness.
But he's already said he's getting some help
he's
there.
Getting some help there.
But so you're going in with one, you're not going in to fix him mentally or to help there, but you're
there
going in to help
there are
with the
people
hoard.
that will. There are people who declutter who have been trained to help people that hoard,
right?
Because it's such an emotional attachment that these people have to their possessions. Actually, if you haven't had that training and you go in and maybe you deal with things a little less sensitively than you need to, it can cause more anxiety. And what you want to do is help this person on their journey rather than cause them any more anxiety.
Okay.
So there are different helplines that you can call to get that advice.
Are there?
There are. Who knew? There is an association of professional declutterers and organisers called APDO. That's APDO. And if you Google that will take you through to a website. And I'm a member of APDO. We're all fully insured. We've all got we all have to abide by a certain code of ethics. So if you get an APDO declutterer in, you know that you've got someone who is solid and sound. But if you go on there, you can actually tick to find people that are trained to deal with hoarders as well. What I would say, Tim, is really start to think about what it is you're trying to achieve by decluttering. And if you can start to maybe make that visual or write it down, that will start to help you on your journey as well.
Okay.
So
APDO, go there, and there are people, Ray, who are trained. So obviously it's not.
I think
it's
Ray,
not massively
yeah.
uncommon, but there are people who are trained to help you.
Just having a look at this, I think Ray has already been in contact with them, but it's definitely worth giving them another call and persisting with that, Ray. So
either that, or if he wants to contact me via my website, then I can always help and put him in touch with someone and give him a little advice myself.
Okay, all right. We'll give you the web address at the end of this, Ray, if you want to get a pen and paper together. 81333, start your message with Solent if you would like to drop a text through to Sue. Let's see if we can help with this one then. I bet this will ring true with lots of people. I'm about to move in to my fiance's house. I currently live in a 2-bedroom place that I've been in for 20 years. Over that time, I've grown into it. I've decluttered a lot. Everything left is useful. However, the house I'm going into is no bigger, but there's 2 of us. How can I condense further as I don't consider what I've got as clutter? So I guess if you've got lots of 2-bedroomed houses, you've got a 4-bedroomed house, but you're trying to declutter down to 1 again. How do you do that?
This is quite a common thing I come across. So I've worked with 2 people in the last 3 months who have combined households as such.
Yeah.
What I would say is it sounds like you're moving into your fiance's house, so that's going to be your fiance's stuff. They're things that they've collected over all that time. So it really is down to them to start to work through all their bits and pieces, because the last thing you want to do is to go in there and start to decide what to get rid of when it's not yours. If you take them through that journey, then there are going to be things where you've got duplicates. And if you're moving in together and treating it as a shared home, which I assume you are, if you're getting married, then you make the decision as, if it's something that you really love and don't want to get hold of, then you definitely get to keep it. If it's something that he really wants to keep hold of, then he gets to keep it. If it's something that you're not sure about, then the other gets the vote on it as to whether it stays or not. So it's all going through it in a very fair way. And then just trying to find a home for everything. But you are going to be limited by space, so you need to be realistic in what you keep.
Do you mediate that? Do you ever sit with a couple and go, Dave, your turn? He goes, I like the wooden spoon. Margaret, what do you think? I hate the wooden spoon. You sit there thinking, okay, a wooden spoon.
I keep people separate to start off with, so they work through their own stuff, and anything that they don't want, if it's a joint thing, it gets put in a pile.
Right, okay.
So it's making sure that the other person isn't interfering with each individual's decision making, because it has to be a personal thing.
Okay. It's the voice of Sue Spencer, a declutterer, owner of A Life More Organised. We're going to have a bit of music, and then we're going to come back to Sue's amazing approach to changing your drawers and cupboards. It's a revolution. We are decluttering today on Ask the Expert. Our expert in is Sue Spencer. Sue's job essentially is she wanders into your house, not with permission. She's not a burglar. You call her and you say, come and help me. I'm not quite sure where to start. And she is one of the most patient people on planet Earth. And she sits with you and helps you with all those bits you've been stalling on. Let's go to a question. I'm fed up with my husband's mess in the garage. There's no order or reason to it, yet my husband says it's all needed. I'm banging my head against a brick wall, brackets, which is what I'd like to do to his head.
Okay, so what I would say is that garage space being used just as a man cave in a way? Are it all tools and things like that, or are there other things in there? If it is all your husband's stuff and he knows where everything is, and you don't have anything in there, you have no need to get in there, then I would say to you, actually, if he's not a particularly tidy person, then that's fine. That's his way of working. You can't force someone into tidying up and cluttering. If it's a joint space, then I think you've got more of a leg to stand on in terms of having the conversation and maybe sharing a view of how you'd like to use that garage space and how it's affecting you, the fact that you're not able to use it, and how you'd like it to look, and then working with him to go through things. And with the KonMari Method, we always tidy by category. So rather than pulling out 3 or 4 boxes of odd objects and going through them saying, do you need that, do you need that, what I would do is to sort things out by category. So put all the similar objects
anything
together.
Anything to do with lighting or electrics. Let's start compiling
anything
it.
to do with lighting, electrics, all your hand tools and stuff, all your electric tools, all your charging cables. I lose count of the amount of times I go into houses and open drawers, generally in the kitchen or in a utility room, and there are loads of charging cables there.
Might come in useful though, so...
Yeah, but no one has a clue as to what they go with.
You never know. You never know.
If you haven't used it in a year, I would say
you
feel free to let go.
Yeah, you do know. Don't listen to Lou. You know, if you're not going to use it, if you haven't used it in a year, either put it away in a memory box because it's something the kids licked once many years ago, or get rid of it. Okay, so break it down to categories. We need to keep going, so we've got some more questions and a pile of messy T-shirts here. Tell us, if you would, while you're organising the T-shirts, you believe that drawers are far better for T-shirts, jeans, socks, underwear, that kind of thing, far better than
jumpers. And jumpers as well. Yeah, because what I think you'll find
better than hanging, I was going to say, yeah.
Than hanging, yeah. Because by all means, hang everything that is naturally better hung. So something like shirts, coats, jackets, dresses, they all hang really nicely. Or lighter materials that don't stand up if they're folded. That's great, but I think we don't use drawers really as much as we can. If you fold your items properly and pop them in a drawer vertically so you can see everything rather than one on top of the other, which means you then can't see what's at the bottom of the pile, you'll be able to get much more in your drawer than you've ever imagined you would be able to. So I've worked with people recently and we've gone from having 3 full drawers worth of stuff, and when we've gone through it and decided what they want to keep, which is generally, they've probably moved on maybe about 20% of the stuff, and we've then folded it properly, they're maybe only using 2 drawers. So what you do when you fold it is, with the KonMari Method, you always try and make something look like a rectangle. So if you imagine I've got a T-shirt in front of me, which I have at the moment, and this makes great radio, I'm sure you'll appreciate. What you do is...
What you're saying there?
It's always great radio on Radio Solent.
It does make great radio.
So what you do is you fold one arm and from the shoulder inwards in towards the middle of the T-shirt.
So you're holding it, so it's lengthways at the moment, so you're making a seam along one side then.
Yep, and then fold again the same the other side, so you're folding the arm and maybe about a third of the body of the T-shirt into the middle of the T-shirt.
All right, so you've got a long oblong there.
You've then got a nice long rectangle, and then what you do is you take the top of the T-shirt, so where the neck is, and you move it down, almost fold it in half down towards the bottom of the T-shirt, like so, and then You then end up with a smaller rectangle, and then you fold that into thirds lengthways.
And essentially, it makes a very gentle tube shape.
A little package, which actually will then stand up by itself.
Look at that. Amazing.
It's hard to describe, but it's a great idea of using drawers for T-shirts and those kind of things, which normally may well be hanging. For the next 3 minutes, you've got a pile of 10 T-shirts there and a little sort of a drawer saver cube.
Handsome over, Sue.
Let's get that all looking great, and we'll show how quickly and easy it is. I'm going to do this. I love being tidy. I love these drawer tidy things. So you can get going. I would help you girls, but of course I've got very sensitive media hands and they can potentially bleed. Questions that are coming in. What do you struggle with most when you are in the world of declutter? What's the biggest challenge for a declutterer?
I think it's
Come on,
quite
Sue.
often getting down to the root. I would say the root cause, but the root reason that someone's got you in. Because I spend probably my first half. I always do a free half-hour consultation anyway, but I'm generally there for about an hour talking to people about why they've called me and what it is they're trying to do. And it's about creating that relationship with someone. But if you're going to work really closely with them, you see absolutely everything.
Bit of trust.
So it's building that trust to start
So the hardest
off with.
bit for the declutterer is just working out what the client really is wanting, what they're about. Do clutter experts charge a fixed fee once they've seen the chaos that is your home, or do they give you an hourly rate?
So I always give an hourly rate, and the reason I do that is because the length of time it takes us to actually clear the clutter and work through your home and get it organised properly really is very dependent on how quickly you make decisions. I don't make the decisions about what stays and what leaves your home. That's up to you, and I can only work as quickly as you can.
An hourly rate. You've got 60 seconds left to get those in the box in the drawer there. Now, Lou is obviously desperate to get her massive...
Here we go.
No, I mentioned it half an hour ago. Don't be bitter.
Yeah, not during every song we've played. Oh, should we get a date in the diary?
No, but that was off air. I was trying to help you. Listen to that. Oh my goodness. I know we've obviously trod on a nerve here. Is there? Are we agreeing that on this show we're going to?
Okay, I agree.
Yes.
I'll do it.
Not by force. Don't have to say it in that way.
No. I'll do it.
Oh no, 3 no's. We're all in trouble. Because you want to do it.
Yeah, I do want to do it. I would love to get to a point. And this has been interesting. Look, she's finished the T-shirts. Look at this.
Yeah,
wow,
they look
amazing. Listening to Sue there and just talking about the T-shirts and how you store stuff, I think a lot of my problem is not so much the amount of stuff I have, it's how I store it. And I have done a big declutter of my wardrobe, but yeah, my shoes are next. And I also have that thing of not wanting, because there's nothing wrong with them. Some of them have never been worn, but I know I'm never going to wear them. And so I think, what do I do with them? How am I going to put them to good use? So yes, I'm willing to give it a go.
Okay, that's good, yeah. And so
brilliant,
you're up for that?
absolutely, because there'll be loads of people that would love those shoes.
We really made some progress here.
Oh, shut up.
We finally got in touch with your anger. We'll be recording that. Of course, I'll be there to offer some support. We'll play that out live. It'll be hilarious. Sue Spencer from A Life More Organised, you've been wonderful. The T-shirts there stacked beautifully. Thank you very much for being our expert.
Thanks for having me again.
BBC Radio Solent
with Alan Newman
and Lou Hannon.